Hello, my dear folks. Welcome back to the show. You ladies, gentlemen, you good people. Whoever agrees with me, I call you better people. I'm kidding. All right. And just trying to make more friends. That's it. Okay, you know me. All right. Good. So today joining me is a good friend of mine, Mr. Ken Hemmings. He and I together, we try to stretch the concept of education to form up a little what we call examination or a checkup about our system, our society in terms of education, saying that instead of, in addition to classroom education, our society as a whole, how are we teaching our people, our young people, our future, our next generation with what we do, right? When we say that, we mean our TV programs,
yes,
our film productions, okay, those stuff. The conclusion is that we're not doing a quite great job. We need lots of catch up to do. So that was it, right? And next thing we were checking, we agreed with our audience to check is about our concept of bringing this jungle law to our day-to-day life, which as a result would teach our kids, our generation. So
yes.
What's your comment about that?
Well, there is more than the fittest to survive, okay? Mm-hmm. There's much more to life than jungle law. One of my favorite words is all cooperation. Mm-hmm. Jungle law does not have cooperation. No. It has survival and it has domination.
Yeah.
And so I'm an advocate of cooperation, not domination. Mm-hmm. And one point I'd like to make is when we talk about all the technologies are created from most people's brains, okay? Mm-hmm. The brain by itself, I don't think has a soul. It has intelligence, but not a soul. Mm-hmm. The blood flowing from the heart up to the brain is where the soul resides. Mm-hmm. And without interpersonal activity with other human beings, you're losing soul-to-soul contact, and you're just having sort of benign technical contact. I think that's a big issue because you cannot sever humanity from the learning process and the subjectivity of a person's judgments from a learning process. And if it goes to just more what you learn by observing through the violence and through all the other, it won't work.
I totally agree. But the problem is that nowadays, if you take a major street, walk from east to west or north and south, you tell me how many bookstores you may come across.
Quite a bit fewer.
Yeah. And then if you're lucky, you get one or two on a major street, right?
Yep, right.
And then you check about the shelves. What are being displayed are books that are teaching you about these jungle laws.
A lot of that, yes.
How to become a team leader.
Right.
All right. How to be successful in a competition, right?
Right.
And then those tricks, those kind of call it those old cliche, however, still functioning very strongly.
I think exactly what you're saying is that they're really not teaching you that success should be a benefit to all the people involved in the project, and it is not a winner and loser situation.
Exactly.
So that value was lost when you're trying to teach people how to outperform, outthink, and outdo other people.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah.
They take a long page after page after page, explain how a head, say for example, how a king bee, the king of the bee becoming the king.
Right.
How a queen bee becoming the queen.
Right.
Yeah. How hard the struggle is.
And see, what they're missing is the true benefit of having a leader such as the king of the jungle, a lion. The true benefit is not the lion, it is the cubs, it is the other people. That's exactly it.
The true benefit of having a king is to form through him a whole work team of work beings.
Right. And
Work bees.
and we've talked before about leadership,
Yeah.
and we've agreed it starts from the bottom.
Yeah.
And the king of the jungle, the lion, he exists in his position of power to protect and nurture those around him,
Exactly.
not to dominate them.
Exactly.
That's
and it's
important.
his job to protect, right?
Yes.
And if he loses
Right.
the protection,
Not-
and then he loses his position,
Right, not to dictate.
or not to dictate,
Not to dictate.
not to dictate.
Right.
And you check the book these days, bookstores these days. There are books everywhere
Yeah.
talking about it.
Right, not enough about true service. Okay.
All right. And also on the other side, on the other hand, you seldom come across books of literature.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, and you go to any of the major bookstores, right? And I was once trying to collect a whole set of Sidney Sheldon,
Okay,
a bestseller.
right, absolutely.
Yeah, another time I was trying to buy a whole set of English poemat.
A poet?
A poem set, a set of poem book.
Yes.
And I was another time trying to buy a set of Shakespearean works
Yes.
for my son as a birthday gift,
That
right?
would- yes.
And I failed each time.
Well, eBay is probably the only way.
Yeah,
It might be the only way, yeah.
Of
Because
course.
it's not considered, there's not maybe enough demand from people like
Yeah, that's
yourself
why
with an
they're taking it off
intellectual
the shelves.
bent and with a humanity bent.
yeah.
There's not enough demand. There's demand for
Exactly
more of these
right. Exactly.
shallow subjects.
I was told that
Right.
I have to place a back order
Yeah,
for them to get it within a week.
right,
I said, if that's the case, I would rather order online, though. So
Right.
that is the thing that we're missing, man. That is the serious stuff we're missing.
right.
Okay, now, so are we saying, or are you telling me, or whoever is going to telling me, that we are going to create a generation of the next which knows everything about technology, right?
And nothing
the
about life.
nothing about life.
Right. What a combination.
What?
What a combination.
They go ahead and marry somebody, have babies,
Yeah.
and to educate their baby the same way,
Yeah.
right? With an empty brain, good in with gadgets, good with computers.
You know, and then that puts us back into outside of the human race element into
Sure.
Another animal that does not self-determine its own destiny through a value system. It determines its own existence or survivorship through competition of which is technological, which has no soul. That's going the wrong way.
Take my son for example. My son Andrew is now undecided. He called himself undecided.
For
I
college.
said, Sonny, you've been undecided for too long, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're really testing my patience.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason he's being undecided is that he's between anthropology
Yeah.
and the computer animation.
Yeah, and there's a real big difference in
I had a
demand for those.
long conversation with him. I said, if I were supposed to be talking from the bottom of my mind, I wish that you take anthropology.
I hear you, and I know
Right.
why. Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But really to think someday when I'm not around, I'm no longer around, I wish that you take computer animation. But that will guarantee your
Yeah.
bills paid.
Right, right.
Right.
But his legacy will be deeper through some anthropological thought processes.
So what is the cruel fact? What is the cruel reality that we're talking about?
Well, the first reality is you do have to make a living.
And you know what
So you
I
have
tried to
provide.
convince him to do?
Yeah.
Go to computer animation against my own will.
Against,
And against his will too.
because you're a practical man. Okay, I mean
Yeah.
that's one of my words in
I'm
here is
not a
practical. Live
man.
life.
No, wrong. I'm
Okay.
not a practical man. I have to be practical.
Right. Yes, you're right. You've overcome your
I
own.
wish, yes.
Right.
I
your own
wish I could
character.
could have chosen the other end.
Right.
I wish I could have talked to him, totally pointing in the other directions, though.
You know, on one hand, though, I would say if a person becomes good at one thing, no matter what it is, and that could be picking up garbage, okay, you will be rewarded with good compensation.
Yeah.
If you're good at one thing, you will do very well.
You're
in this
right,
life.
you're right. But you're bringing other subject, other area, talking about if you compare anthropology
Right.
and computer animation. I'm not saying
Right.
computer animation is bad.
No.
I'm saying they're equally good, right? They're equally good, and each of the other is as equal, as bad, as good as the other.
But what
the
you're
thing
saying-
is that
yeah.
this society pays more to that rather than this.
In the computer animation, in many ways, when you question the impact on the childhood experience of our youth,
Yeah, sure.
It's not always a positive contribution to it. Sometimes, more people, which I've researched, that look for entertainment for entertainment purposes only, usually have slower cognitive development in how they can analyze and learn and move forward in life. So there are a lot of negative, and then of course the violence is a very negative impact on kids. Look at what's happened on
That's
school.
it, yeah. That's the cruel part. That's exactly
It's
the
the
cruel
reality.
part of it.
Yeah.
Because reality, it is reality that teaches you to go against your own will, own liking, to pick something that you do not like and end up doing good,
Right,
right?
right.
And then that is the exact thing. In my case, me and Andrew's case, my
Yes.
son's case, I'm choosing to go against my own will, against his will, by convincing him to go computer animation, which is also good to anybody else, but in his case not as good because he doesn't like it, only because that pays better.
But then I would have to say, we've got to follow our soul. We've got to follow our heart. We've got to follow. If you do what you like,
In
you
general,
will do better.
you're right.
If he doesn't really love computer animation, he won't be one of the stars.
Okay.
You can't be.
Okay, in general, you're right. In general, you're right. But you have to make sure. I told him even this. I said, Sonny, if you really want to choose anthropology, be prepared. You're going to be looking for a job for a long time. Why do I say that?
It's
As a lover of anthropology myself.
It's sort of a realistic expectation.
Yes, of
However,
course.
if he's outstanding in his studies and that, people will notice him, and it's a big world, and anthropology actually applies to every square inch of this world.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know.
he'll find his place on the planet. I believe
By
that.
logic, you're right.
Yeah.
And
By passion.
Yeah, by passion, you're right.
Yeah, by logic, maybe.
By ideology, you're right. Everything you're right. But by reality, you're wrong. That's where everybody got stuck. That's why we put up this show. We're exactly talking about it, right?
It's a very important debate. What happens in society now is with this technology, it's not evaluated as to its pros and cons very much. It's considered beautiful because we do it faster.
Sure,
or we calculate something
absolutely.
faster. And anything that's a calculation is nothing that can be calculated by someone else.
As a conclusion,
Yeah.
healthy, to me, once again, is my own personal point of view, okay? A healthy society supposed to be developing equally. Every area, do you think so?
Oh yeah.
Don't you
yeah.
think so? Right?
Yeah. Other than you need a certain development in food, okay, and shelter. But yes, it's the arts always get defunded first, and the deeper sciences like anthropology versus space travel. Yeah, so yes, you're right.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like your leg, you can't let one of your legs grow too stronger than the other.
Right.
Or the other
walk this
weaker
way.
than yours,
Yeah.
than the other.
Right.
No, I don't think so, right? Okay, now, let's take a very short moment out. It looks that we have found some ground. Okay, now, when we come back after this short break, we'll find out where the common ground is. So, stay with us. Right back.